Hey, good morning. Brenda here with Modig Leadership. And I wanted to break down to you guys exactly what we do with corporate clients. People often ask like, okay, well, A, what's so cool about you guys and why are you different? And B, what does it look like? What does it look like to work with you? And so let's tackle number one first. And here's the reality. We do team leadership development in a whole different model than most people do, right? Oftentimes, everybody wants to dive in and really address the teamwork first. They want to go after the team and how are you guys communicating? How are you dealing with this, that, and the other? And very similar to how I work with my one-on-one clients, we need to work with the individual first. Oftentimes, like you've got a team mentality and everybody's only as strong as the weakest link, right? And so everybody drops down to that level or is wasting a ton of energy trying to pull that person up to their level, which gets exhausting. And they're wasting so much energy on that person instead of productivity and performance and creativity and all those things that big companies need to succeed, right? And so what we do is we come in and we do a 2-day offsite retreat. And the reason we do offsite is because it is shown that people are much more engaged. When you change their environment, it scrambles the neural pathways in their brain, if you will, a little bit. They're forced to focus more. They're less distracted. If they're in their natural, normal environment, they're going to be thinking about picking their kids up at 4 o'clock or getting out the door to get the groceries done or what am I going to cook for dinner, right? When you remove them from their general environment, it radically shifts their attentiveness, their presence, their ability to retain what you're teaching them, and their engagement, okay? And so at that 2-day offsite retreat, we dive in super, super, super deep on the individual. It's time to put the I back in team where we focus on the individuals first. Once the individuals are all now going through, we've mucked out through all of their crap and all their baggage, and we've also taught some basic communication skills where everybody in the room is now speaking the same language. Not only are they speaking the same language so it's easier to communicate, but they've also inadvertently done teamwork and team trustworthiness and loyalty and been vulnerable with each other because they've shared and unpacked their personal stuff together as a team. They now have a loyalty and a connection with each other that they didn't have prior to that 2-day offsite. So not only are they more connected, like I said, inadvertently as a team, they don't even know that this is really happening, but we've built each individual up, shedded their old limiting beliefs, if you will. Now they're stepping into their superpower. Now the whole team is operating individually the best that they possibly can. Now we move into the team leadership development. And when we integrate the teamwork, we elevate the team on a whole different level now that they never could have reached before had we not started with that foundational individual work. So that's how we start is, like I said, with the 2-day retreat. Then we move into 2 weeks after that, we do a Q&A session where everybody who was at that retreat, because again, it's so much information, they've got questions and they want to be able to integrate this. And they're like, hey, this happened when I went home one day and I could see how this could apply to when I go to the door for door-to-door sales. How can you help me unpack this and how could I have responded better? And we get to unpack that 2 weeks later after the retreat and Q&A. Then we move into a 6-month-long engagement of monthly training and weekly access to me. Most entrepreneurs know, most business owners know, your performance at work, at home, in life, everywhere, all has to do with your mindset. And if you are not emotionally regulated, if you are not able to control your emotions, there's direct links with studies that the most effective salespeople are people who are the most emotionally regulated. 95% of our purchasing decisions are made based off of emotions. Now, you transfer that into the workplace, and there's studies that say that every decision that we make is based out of emotions, right? If you haven't done this work and you're not emotionally regulated and your employees aren't, you're at the whim of how somebody feels that day. And you and I both know with our own emotions that can be quite disturbing if we don't have that in check. There's days that I don't want to do things that I have to do. And when you're emotionally regulated, you can separate the reason why you don't want to do it and you can saddle up and you can get the job done. I often have talked about it, days when we've done videos here where I don't feel like doing it and I'm not on my game. But when we have emotional regularity and we've got mindset skills, I can shift my mindset to get in the game. And when your employees can do that, not only individually, but collectively as a team, it radically transforms your team in massive, massive ways. You now have serious buy-in from your employees simply because you have told them that you care enough about them as individuals to invest in them, to take them them to this training, to invest in 6-month long training, not only knowing that you're improving their life, but we just had a company report after the first 5 months of zero revenue. Over the course of last year, they had 42% revenue increase. 42%. That is massive profitability as an owner, as a CEO, that you can't afford not to do this kind of training. It radically alters your team's performance and shifts you into a whole different playing field of success with your company. So that's what it looks like. We also have access, like I said, I think I mentioned earlier, there's some hours per week. And all this is customizable if we need to shift it, increase it, decrease it, whatever we need to do. But this is a skeleton of what we do, where everybody has access to me, that C-suite team. There's 4 hours allotted to your team each week that they can contact me. They can reach out. In fact, I literally just got 2 texts from one of my corporate clients right before we shot this video that said, hey, I need to chat with you about something. Okay. And so that's what I am available to for your team, where you're not babysitting the emotions of your team. You're not equipped to. You don't need to. You don't know how to. You've got a job to do. That's my job, where I am outsourced. I get to come in and get to see the heart and the pulse of your company and how we can optimize that so the team is performing at its peak performance. So if that's something you're interested in, we'll see if we're a good fit for each other, and we'll get you started on massive revenue increase within your company.